Chapter 21. Your system's latency is a bit high. As soon as Deng Yuki finished speaking, she rushed to the driver's seat of the car, raised the fire extinguisher, and smashed it against the window with the bottom. After smashing it, she immediately turned on the fire extinguisher and sprayed the driver of the car, burning inside. Standing behind Deng Yuki, Shen Jie suddenly felt that the surrounding air had dropped a few degrees, and then he saw the burning car windows, seats, and the driver of the car covered with a layer of ice. This is the latest, sneak energy equipment, researched by technicians from the Special Policy Department. It can spray out cold air that is several times more effective than a dry ice fire extinguisher in an instant. Once the weirdness is frozen, it can be broken. At this moment, Shen Jie heard a noise coming from behind. A car seemed to be afraid that the burning car would explode and involve him, so he turned the steering wheel and tried to knock it out from the side. As a result, this operation scared the car. The driver mistook the accelerator for the brake and hit the car in front. This collision caused the car in front to hit Deng Yuki, who had his back to the car. "Be careful," Shen Jie, with quick eyes and quick hands, pounced on Deng Yuki and threw him to the ground to avoid the impact of the car. However, his arm was swept by a small amount of gas and was instantly covered with ice. The out-of-control car was pushed forward by the car behind it and hit the burning car. Caw! Caw! In the strange car, the driver's lower body was burning with fire and his upper body was frozen. His head turned directly to the right from behind, frightening the middle-aged woman in the out-of-control car to let out a piercing scream. Her head tilted and she fainted. The driver of the trick car opened his mouth wide again, with a pale and terrifying face revealed in his mouth the size of a wash basin, and he rushed towards the fainted middle-aged woman. Upon seeing this, Deng Yuki stood up and rushed towards the middle-aged woman. At the same time, she took out a pair of black gloves and put them on. Just when the soul-like ghost head was about to bite the middle-aged woman, she grabbed the ghost head's neck. Boom! At this time, a gunshot suddenly sounded in the distance, and then a bullet hit the ghost's head in the neck, directly breaking it. Huo Yu, a sniper from the Special Strategy Department, found a high point where he could see the entire Chenghong Road and was on guard. The moment there was a commotion on the street, he found something strange through his scope. The ghost's head that Deng Yuki pinched turned into a piece of wood in the blink of an eye after his neck was broken. Soon, another grimace grew from the driver's open mouth. But this time the driver of the trick car couldn't spit out the ghost, because Shen Jie had already rushed to the driver's seat with a fire extinguisher can and sprayed ice gas into the mouth of the driver of the trick car. Deng Yuki's plan was to use the freezing device to freeze the driver of the trick car, and then find a way to completely eliminate him. But Shen Jie battled wits with the driver of the car for half an hour in the car, guessing that the driver's mouth and grimace were his weaknesses. The driver's entire head, including his terrifying face, was frozen. Before Shen Jie could breathe a sigh of relief, he heard a sound like a mirror breaking. The grimace that had just been frozen shattered the ice and moved out a little further. Shen Jie glanced at the wood thrown to the ground by Deng Yuki, and then recalled that when he first got on the car, he saw in a trance that the driver of the car had turned into a piece of wood. "Come here." Shen Jie thrust the freezing device into Deng Yuki's arms, turned over and stepped on the hood of the car next to him, jumped onto the roof of the car, jumped over the green belt, and ran towards the sidewalk. Ran? Deng Yuki was stunned for a moment, but it would be better if Shen Jie ran away. The fewer people involved in the strange incident, the easier it would be for the Special Operations Department to take action. Within 2 or 3 minutes after the car came out of the mysterious space, members of the special forces who were conducting investigations immediately gathered around and evacuated the crowd in accordance with the order. At this time, 2 special agents carrying a heavy machine came to the car and took out a scanner to scan the car and the driver's seat. "The data has been sent back. We're in a downtown area and there are many people around. Please analyze and find the weakness as soon as possible," the scanner said to the walkie-talkie. Deng Yuki, who was holding a freezing device to continuously freeze the strange car, also noticed the wood at his feet. He recalled that Shen Jie had set the driver of the strange car on fire in the car, and the burning speed was so fast, it was obvious that this strange, the weakness, is fire. The weak point is fire. Contact the coordinator and send the flamethrower, Deng Yuki said quickly. At this moment, Shen Jie rushed to the trick car carrying a basket. The two scanners from the Special Operations Department saw this and quickly stopped him. "Sir, this is very dangerous, please evacuate immediately." Ignoring the detective's obstruction, Shen Jie rushed to Deng Yuki's side, picked up a barrel of liquor and said, "Officer Deng, stop spraying it now, let me try it." Deng Yuki saw the liquor in Shen's singer and guessed what he wanted to do, and immediately turned off the freezing device. "Mr. Shen, why don't you let me do it?" Shen Jie had already unscrewed the lid of the wine barrel. At this moment, there was only a click sound, and the grimace broke free from the shackles of the ice again. But the next second, Shen Jie poured the wine barrel directly into the driver's open mouth, and drank the liquor, Gu dong. Then, take out the lighter. Snapped, the ghostly face in the driver's mouth was twisted and ferocious. Shen Jie had almost burned him to death when he accidentally struck a fire, but he didn't want the mysterious space to be broken, and Deng Yuki's control saved him instead. But Shen Jie and Deng Yuki both know that this weird weakness is fire, and obviously they will not use the freezing device again. The host is wise and courageous, majestic, single-handedly kills level 2 weirdos, rewards system points x100, and random F-level supplies x1. Do you want to withdraw the reward? Your system is a little delayed? Shen Jie didn't expect that after killing the trick car, the system that had been pretending to be dead would come to life, and there would be a kill reward. Is it because there is a 4-year time difference between you and the system that the system can only detect the weirdness that still exists 4 years later? In other words, the targets detected by the system are all in their status 4 years later? And this level 2 weird car no longer exists 4 years later, so the system didn't detect it at the beginning? The reward mechanism was not triggered until this level 2 weirdo was killed? But whether it was the wildcat before or the weird immobile one afterward, there was no kill reward after killing it. Thinking of this, Shen Jie guessed that the system's reward mechanism should have 2 modes. One is for the weird ones that still exist after 4 years. After killing them, you can get rewards by selling the weird corpses or devouring the characteristics. The other kind is the weirdness that will not exist 4 years later. After killing, system points and random supplies will be rewarded as now. No matter what, as long as there is a reward, it is always good. After Wei Wei was killed, all that was left was the aftermath. Deng Yuki directed the detectives of the Special Policy Department to cooperate with the police to appease the citizens and cordon off the scene, and then asked Shen Jie to go to the Special Policy Department to take notes. Shen Jie was invited into a place that looked like an interrogation room, except that there was a interview room sign hanging on the door. An agent poured him a glass of water and went out. After waiting for a while, Deng Yuki walked into the room with the record book and sat across from Shen Jie. "Mr. Shen, according to your statement, you received the taxi ticket issued by Baba app in the afternoon and planned to use the ticket after get off work, and then you were involved in a strange incident, right?" Deng Yuki asked. Shen Jie nodded. "I think this Baba app needs to be re-examined." Deng Yuki was about to nod when she heard Shen Jie say again, "Only 115 yuan taxi voucher is issued every month. This is not enough. The taxi fare is so expensive, so we don't give more back to the users. So this is what you are concerned about?" Deng Yuki's face froze, and she suppressed her complaints and continued writing notes. Then she asked, "Mr. Shen, have you ever heard of Guineng equipment?" Shen Jie's eyes lit up when he heard this. "Officer Deng, do you also play games? The name of this trick equipment sounds very good. Which game is it from?" "Calm down." Deng Yuki took a few deep breaths and said, "The fire extinguisher you just used to freeze the weirdness is a type of strange energy equipment called freezing device." Chapter 22. Treacherous equipment. Shen Jie thought for a moment after hearing the words, and said, "Literally, it means to create energy-driven equipment through weirdness. No wonder after evacuating the crowd, you packed up the entire car and took it away. It turned out that you were taking the weird corpses again. Utilize it. Speaking of which of the weird ones can be made into a weird energy? Is it a special item made by completely crushing Weird's corpse, or is it extracting Weird's blood, bone marrow, etc. as an energy agent? Or maybe there is some kind of core, crystal, or source energy in Weird's body. Anyway, it's just a crystal as big as a fingernail. It can be used as an energy crystal, or eaten directly to become a superpower. After listening to Shen Ji's speculations, Deng Yuki was surprised that Shen Jie had so many speculations based on just one name. Without the following paragraph, her evaluation of Shen Jie would have been higher. Mr. Shen is really imaginative. I would like to know where you learned all this? Deng Yuki sighed and said. Oh, that's how all doomsday novels are written, Shen Jie replied calmly. Deng Yuki. Calm down. This is the work of the technical department. To be honest, I don't know much about it. However, I mentioned to Mr. Shen yesterday 2 ways to crack the mysterious space. The 2 common ones are to look for weaknesses and patterns, but there is a 3rd way. The reason why I didn't mention the method is because I thought Mr. Shen didn't have such conditions. Deng Yuki obviously didn't want to talk more about the special equipment and directly changed the topic. Shen Jie raised his eyebrows and asked with interest. Oh, what is it? A strange space collision. Deng Yuki looked at Shen Jie seriously, trying to capture some information from his expression. Although Shen Jie had already made a guess in his mind, he still asked with a normal expression. What is that? Deng Yuki said, high-level weird energy equipment can reproduce weird spaces, but it is extremely rare and there are only a few pieces in the world. Through the collision of 2 weird spaces, space distortion is generated, allowing people outside the weird spaces to enter. This is the simplest and crudest way to crack the mysterious space. Deng Yuki thought that Shen Jie had already experienced 2 strange events and had come into contact with strange equipment, so it wouldn't hurt to tell him such basic knowledge. Most importantly, due to Shen Ji's outstanding performance in the 2 strange incidents, he has reached the standard of talent of the Special Strategy Department, and there is a high probability that he will be recruited by the Special Strategy Department. Hearing this, Shen Jie finally understood what the space distortion was at that moment. Yesterday, Cheng Shengnan and Xiao He were affected by the immovable, mysterious space, and their invisible state was caused by being pulled into the mysterious space. Shen Jie uses immobility to control the trick car driver, which also pulls him into the weird space. However, the trick car driver itself is weird and has its own weird space. Shen Ji's accidental collision created the effect of a strange space collision and caused spatial distortion. Only then did Deng Yuki seize the opportunity to enter the strange space of the trick car. Shen Ji's expression remained normal, but it actually made Deng Yuki frown slightly. So, Mr. Shen, how did you achieve the mysterious space collision? Did you carry any special equipment? Shen Jie reached into his pocket and touched it. Just when Deng Yuki was waiting, thinking that he was going to take out the hidden treacherous equipment, he saw Shen Jie put a lighter on the table. Officer Deng, look at this lighter. It looks like an ordinary lighter, but in fact it is. Shen Jie looked serious, as if this lighter was really something extraordinary. Hairdryer? Shaver? Deng Yuki sighed and said helplessly. Mr. Shen, let's not make fun of movie jokes, okay? Shen Jie said in a helpless tone. Officer Deng, from the time I entered this building to the time I sat here, you had 3 waves of people with 6 instruments beeping and scanning at me. I'm afraid you didn't even know the color of my underwear. We all know, but you don't know if there is any equipment with treacherous energy? Deng Yuki was immediately silenced by Shen Ji's words. But Shen Jie was telling the truth. When the Special Policy Department invited Shen Jie to the department for tea, they conducted various inspections on him on the grounds of security and preventing strange things from hiding in Shen Jie. The first is to ensure that Shen Jie is not in danger, and the second, and most importantly, is to confirm whether Shen Jie really hides the treacherous equipment. But unfortunately, at least the Special Policy Department cannot detect it. Watching various instruments beeping and scanning at him, Shen Jie was worried that the system or features were being scanned out. However, it can be seen from the disappointed expressions of everyone that although the system is stretched to the point that there is no room for carrying it, it cannot be detected casually. At this time, Shen Jie suddenly changed the topic. Officer Deng, counting yesterday's time, I have helped you solve strange incidents twice. This bonus should be more, right? Of course. Without Mr. Shen's help, we may not be able to solve the strange incident before it worsens. Mr. Shen is indispensable for being able to control the strange impact to a minimum. I will apply for a first-level reward for Mr. Shen from above. The bonus will be around 200,000. Deng Yuki replied. Shen Jie was surprised and said, "Wow, the bonus has increased directly from 20,000 to 200,000, which is really a big span. It's quite a lot of money, it can almost cover my salary for 1 or 2 months." Deng Yuki really wants to ask, "Do you want it?" But Shen Jie said seriously, "Officer Deng, what do you think of this? I don't want the money. Can you give me a load of your special fire extinguishers?" Deng Yuki is going crazy. The research cost of the freezing device of the special energy equipment is close to 9 figures, and the cost of each one is more than 1 million. You can't even buy a trick device for $200,000, but you still want a finished product? The point is one car? You might as well go and grab it? Deng Yuki took a few deep breaths, suppressed her anger, and patiently explained, "I'm sorry, Mr. Shen. This is special equipment from the Special Strategy Department. It is only for combat personnel and cannot be given away." "Then give me a pair of your gloves." "Sorry, the trick gloves are expensive to make, and their level is even higher than ordinary tricks equipment, so they cannot be given as gifts." "It's expensive? How expensive? 1 million? 10 million? More than 10 million. Oh, I want it. Should I pay by credit card or cash? Can I pay in installments?" Deng Yuki held it in for a long time and finally said, "Mr. Shen is really rich, but I'm sorry, special equipment is not for sale." "Oh, I just said it casually. If you really agree, I will be embarrassed to say more than 9 million in installments," Shen Jie said seriously. Deng Yuki's fists were clenched. Shen Jie seemed to see Deng Yuki's complicated mood, and quickly tried to persuade him. "Officer Deng, don't be disappointed. After all, reality is not a fantasy. You can just wave a card for hundreds of millions and go out. However, I think your cost is a bit expensive. Will I get a kickback?" Shen Jie said, "Officer Deng, given our relationship, you really can't sell me a pair of gloves for 1 million? I don't have 10 million, but I can still get it if I squeeze for 1 million. Mr. Shen, thank you for your cooperation today. Please come this way and I will take you out." Deng Yuki stood up and left the interview room without looking back. Shen Song rested his elbows on the table, covered his mouth with his fingers crossed, and performed a certain classic move. He looked at Deng Yuki with a deep look. "Officer Deng, before leaving, there is one more important thing." "Say." Deng Yuki immediately became nervous when he saw this. "Is there anything wrong with this strange incident? Please give me a pair of shoes." Shen Jie raised his feet and showed off his white socks with blackened soles. His 2 shoes were eaten by the driver of the truck. From Qinghong Road to the Special Policy Department, it was always light. Put your feet on. Chapter 23. Excellent person like me. Shen Jie followed Deng Yuki out of the main building of the Special Policy Department, and happened to see people from the Special Policy Department pushing out 2 boxes, one large and one small, from a truck. If I remember correctly, this box is the box that was packed strangely before. At this time, there was a black metal seal wrapped around the outside of the box. "But why 2? Officer Deng, did you move Wei Wei out of the car? Is it because you were not sure who was Wei Wei, the driver or the car?" Shen Jie asked. As the head of the Wrong City Special Policy Department, Deng Yuki actually did not even need to personally interrogate Shen Jie. The reason why she did it personally was because she planned to serve as a recommender and report Shen Jie's information to the headquarters in an attempt to introduce Special Policy Department. After all, even the professionally trained Special Operations Department agents are not as calm as Shen Jie when facing strange things. This is why Deng Yuki was troubled by Shen Jie's out-of-the-box thinking, but she was still willing to patiently answer some of his doubts to him. "Yes, usually when we deal with weird incidents, we will bring all weird-related objects back for inspection to ensure safety. For example, the water storage barrel on the roof of your company. Even if Mr. Shen burns weird to death, the water storage barrels will still be moved to the department for testing," Deng Yuki replied. "Is there anything gained?" Shen Jie asked. Deng Yuki said, "It usually takes a week for the technical department's report to come out. It's really inefficient. Mr. Shen's mouth is as if poisoned with honey. It's not easy to live to such an old age. Deng Yuki sighed. Shen Jie felt heartbroken, watching the people from the Special Policy Department push Wei Yi's corpse away. After all, when he killed Wei Yi, in addition to receiving the reward prompt from the system, he also received the "sell weird corpse" prompt as before. It's just because it's weird and has no characteristics, and there's no hint of swallowing. Level 2 weird corpses can be sold for 500 system points. Shen Jie hesitated again and again, but still did not dare to perform white light appearance in front of Deng Yuki and his party. Deng Yuki personally sent Shen Jie outside the compound. Seeing the two guards standing guard at the entrance of the compound with guns hanging on their bodies, Shen Jie asked curiously, "Officer Deng, are these real guns and live ammunition?" In fact, when he came to the Special Policy Department, Shen Jie felt that he had been too homely for too long and hadn't gone out. He didn't expect that there was such a place in the city center. If I remember correctly, except for the military headquarters and other places that were linked to the word military, even the guards outside the municipal building were not fully armed like this. However, it is not difficult to understand that a weird suddenly pops up in peaceful times and becomes the common enemy of the whole world, and the soldiers of the Special Strategy Department are always on the front line when facing weirdness. Whether it is the particularity of the department or the protection of soldiers, this kind of protection is very necessary. Yes, the Special Policy Department has a very high level of confidentiality. Under normal circumstances, even officials from other departments have no right to enter except by invitation. Then don't I have more face? You're assisting in the investigation? Shen Jie looked at the two military dogs squatting next to the guard booth and asked curiously, "Do you think I can trick them away with 2 ham sausages?" Deng Yuki looked at Shen Jie as if he were an idiot. These are trained military dogs. You can't deceive them even if you pull a cart of ham sausages, let alone 2 ham sausages. Really, I don't believe it. Calm down. Stepping out of the compound, Deng Yuki quickly stopped and said, "Mr. Shen, thank you for your cooperation. If there are other situations that need to be investigated, we will contact you again. Then if I have new clues, can I come here to find you? If it's information related to weirdness, yes, then you still said you can't just enter?" Deng Yuki wanted to hit someone. Deng Yuki really didn't want to pay attention to Shen Jie anymore, but finally asked. Mr. Shen mentioned that he was interested in the Special Policy Department before. Are you interested in working in the Special Policy Department? Although the salary is not as good as Mr. Shen's current unit, but the treatment of the agents of the Special Strategy Department is calculated according to the highest standard of special forces. Have weekends off? Shen Jie said. Deng Yuki's expression suddenly became a little strange. Generally speaking, the person involved in this situation should be concerned about welfare benefits and other issues. This guy cares about 2 weekends off, Deng Yuki answered truthfully. If you are a technical staff, you will arrange your time off according to the work at hand. If you are a frontline agent, you need to be on call 24 hours a day. Shen Jie's eyes lit up. So, can I understand that when I'm not working, it's equivalent to 7 days off a week? That's true, but... Oh, let's go through the entry procedures now. Shen Jie turned around and walked towards the compound enthusiastically. The guard dog at the door immediately stood up and was ready. Mr. Shen, wait. Deng Yuki quickly stopped Shen Jie and explained. I only plan to serve as a recommender and report your information to the headquarters. Whether it can be approved depends on the evaluation of the headquarters. So troublesome? Forget it. Shen Jie finished speaking and walked out of the courtyard. Deng Yuki _ if Shen Jie didn't have such a mouth, she would even be willing to use the special talent recruitment quota to introduce talents like this into the department. But with this mouth, Deng Yuki was worried that when Shen Jie went on a mission, one sentence would directly make the high-level weird, violent. Shen Jie suddenly stopped and asked seriously, for an outstanding person like me, if I join your Special Policy Department, I won't be jealous, suppressed, or excluded by other agents, right? Mr. Shen is overly worried. Apart from facing strange dangers, the Special Strategy Department has no pressure for promotion, and the team members get along very harmoniously. Dame Yuki said with a wooden face. Don't blame me for being too worried. After all, it is written like this in novels. Someone enters the dragon group, and the members of the same group are jealous of his talents. All parties suppress and make things difficult for him. In the end, the protagonist gets angry and crushes him all the way, becomes the group leader, and embarks on a lifelong journey. Peak. Although it is very exciting, you can tell by looking at my physique that I focus on intelligence and spirit. Not only can I not fight, I am also very weak to resist beatings, so I am very worried, Shen Jie said seriously. Dame Yuki patted Shen Jie on the shoulder and said earnestly, Mr. Shen, read less novels. Your head is only a basin of water away from Shudu. Ha ha, Officer Deng turns out to be quite humorous, Shen Jie said in surprise. Dame Yuki's sad face went to curse. Unknowingly, I was led astray by this guy. No, recommendations need to be considered more. Shen Jie watched Dame Yuki walk into the courtyard, took out his mobile phone to hail a taxi. But then put the mobile phone back into his pocket. Forget it, let's squeeze into the bus. As for the Special Policy Department, in fact, Shen Jie has been very interested in it since he learned about the existence of this department. When a superhero saves the world, it is just incidental. The most important thing is to be involved in the investigation of strange events in an official capacity. The more weirdness you are exposed to, the more you can use the system's capabilities. Whether it is to make oneself stronger quickly or to postpone the end of the world, this is more efficient than fearing exposure and timid actions all day long. Most importantly, the Special Strategy Department also has a technical department that specializes in the research of weird equipment. Those black gloves that can safely catch weird things. Before, as long as Dame Yuki nodded, he would have to buy a pair even if he sold his house. Equipment with treacherous energy? Tisk tisk. Isn't this the butcher's knife at home? If you can learn the principles and techniques of making weird equipment from the technical department, then you don't have to try your luck when it comes to equipment. When leaving, Shen Jie looked up at the red flag planted above the building, smiled, and walked to the bus stop in the distance while humming a tune. A good person like me should have lived a peaceful life, so why did he spend more than 20 years on the battlefield? A handsome person like me. Chapter 24. The system rewarded you with a green pineapple. It was almost 10 o'clock when Shen Jie got home. He made a bag of instant noodles and turned on the computer to pick a BGM song suitable for drawing cards. Good Luck, and the entrance song of the God of Gamblers, have already been used. In such a sacred ceremony as card drawing, background music must be indispensable. Even if it's just one draw, okay, the decision is yours. Shen Jie selected The Passionate Duelist from the top 10 of exclusive BGM for drawing cards from to play. With a passionate, my turn. Draw a card, the impassioned music sounded. Do you want to consume 100 system points for a lottery draw? Smoke, prizes are being drawn. Ding. Congratulations to the host for drawing the consumable item, F1 fragmentation grenade. As the white light flashed, a green pineapple the size of a fist appeared on the coffee table. Shen Jie's expression was a little subtle at this time. Although he wanted to use the system to get some weapons and equipment that could cause direct damage to Weird, it would be better if they were less conspicuous, like the freezing device and black gloves of the Special Strategy Department can be taken to the streets. However, the green pineapple in front of me meets the requirement of much harm, but it has almost nothing to do with inconspicuous. Our country has banned guns and controlled knives. Even the butcher's knife cannot be taken on the streets, let alone this green pineapple. System, you are causing trouble. Shen Jie opened the web page and wanted to see the parameters of the F1 fragmentation grenade. He didn't know it, and his mood became more complicated. The F1 fragmentation grenade contains about 60 grams of high explosives and uses a UZRGM fuse. The grenade will generally detonate within 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds. The conventional throwing distance is 30 to 45 meters, but the effective killing radius is 30 rice. Simply put, this thing is extremely easy to accidentally injure the thrower. Not to mention carrying this thing in your bag, whether you are going through security or being beeped a few times by people from the Special Policy Department, you will be able to get a long-term meal ticket in minutes. If you have the ability, you can create a portable space, Shen Jie said extremely speechlessly. Ask the host to work hard to improve the rating, and the system will unlock more functions. Make a new rating. Rate the current status of the host. The rating result is Level 0. You all say it's weird that I defeated Level 2 alone, but I am still rated Level 0. Is there a big problem with your rating system? Shen Jie was not convinced. The rating result is correct. Awesome. Shen Jie dug out a rusty iron box from under the bed, which contained some yellowed photos and an old pocket watch, and then put the green pineapple inside. If it was really found, it could only be said to be Grandpa's relic. I thought it was a model, so I didn't have time to hand it in. Obviously, this kind of thing can only be used after the rating goes up and the system opens the portable space. After drawing the prize, Shen Jie clicked to continue playing the BGM, because in addition to the reward of 100 system points for killing the level 2 weirdo, there was also a temporarily stored F-level supply that had not been withdrawn. Putting aside the dangers of green pineapples, the result of this lottery is quite lucky, which proves that this BGM is effective. System, extract rewards. Rewards are being drawn. Extraction successful. Get expired Croton X1 caddy, level F. On the coffee table, a bag of beans with a peculiar smell appeared out of thin air. Shen Jie picked it up with a strange expression and took a look. Expired Croton X1 caddies, grade F, consuming only 50 grams can quickly eliminate toxins from the body and is effective against all poisons that are not fatal on the spot. Effective in 1 minute. Shen Jie silently threw the bag of expired Croton under the bed, then moved the mouse to click on BGM, like it and block it. Goodbye. Shen Jie checked the post bar in frustration. In the Rongxi bar, he saw the strange events on Qinghong Road in the evening. However, these posts did not survive for more than a minute and disappeared without a trace. After a while, the entire Rongxi bar directly responded with 404, indicating a network error. As it approaches the early hours of the morning, I casually combine various related words such as weird, Rongxi, and weird car on the internet, and the related searches that appear are all very different. The efficiency of the Special Policy Department is really high. Shen Jie sighed while searching for various weird-related information on the internet. He has now been completely exposed in the Special Policy Department. It doesn't matter even if his search for information related to weirdness is checked. After all, 2 strange incidents occurred in 2 days. If we did not pay attention to the information related to the strange, it would be more suspicious for the Special Policy Department. As the trigger for the strangeness to be exposed to the world 3 years later, the strange events in Sakura country are obviously more worthy of careful study. But when Shen Jie entered keywords such as weird, weird events, weird space, weird domain, etc. into the search engine, he was delighted with the content that came out. Momonogi's latest weird outfit, 3 words, breathtaking. The strange incident in college, 100 pieces of information lost by Nagano. The mysterious realm unfolds, Erika's time-stop game. 1 cry, 2 make a fuss, 3 go to bed, 3 teachers talk about weird pleasures. This search engines are so powerful. I have to say, as the national quintessence of Sakura country, it doesn't seem surprising at all that teachers can be involved in any incident. Shen Jie only had weirdness in his mind at this time and had no intention of learning, so he tried to search for weird-related information using different affixes. Although not much weird-related content was found, the strange folk tales of Sakura country caught Shen Jie's attention. For example, whenever the foggy weather comes, you will enter a strange no-man's space, and a beautiful woman with a hot figure and a mask will ask you, "Am I beautiful?" After the rain, huge human-headed lanterns appear in a certain town. They will turn into familiar faces, allowing you to open the window and become their companion. There are many similar folk tales, such as No Man's Space and Human Head Lantern. It is difficult not to associate them with strange spaces and weirdness. So, the more ghost stories there are in an area, the higher the frequency of weird stories. Shen Jie found a new search idea and changed the keywords to search for some ghost stories in my country. This search immediately revealed a lot of clues. Tourists at a haunted house in an amusement park in JJ City claimed to have seen real ghosts and lamented that the ticket price was so worth it. An old man who likes to knock on the door appears in Dachang City. It is said that he is the long-dead grandfather of a certain student. Although news like this cannot be found on some regular platforms, there are quite a few on platforms related to supernatural stories. Many ghost stories can be traced back to ancient ghost stories if you peel them apart, and you can find clues that are similar to weird space and weirdness. In fact, it can be seen from Deng Yuki's disclosure of how many years the Wrong City branch was established that strange incidents did not only occur in the past 2 years. Just for some reason, the probability of strange events occurring in recent years has increased. Even though the authorities are trying very hard to suppress these incidents, the network is developed and the spread of relevant information cannot be avoided. For example, Shen Jie quickly found a brand new version of the ghost car on the Ghost Story website. A young man suddenly appeared in a downtown area and refused to pay for a taxi, and even set the car on fire. Shen Jie. Day. Chapter 25. The host was so swollen that he broke into the strange lair single-handedly. Congratulations to the host for surviving another day in a world full of weirdness. The reward is 1% of freely distributed points and 10 system points. Shen Jie stayed up until the early hours of the morning, allocating the free points from daily rewards to mental energy, opening the diary as usual and checking new content every day. On January 6, 2028, the second day of the holiday, you continued to exercise through the system's task function, and the sneak energy weapon rewarded by the organization was sent to the shelter. It turned out to be a weapon with not bad characteristics. Pig butcher knife. You have conducted various tests on the pig butcher knife, and you are surprised to find that even bombs cannot damage the pig butcher knife at all. Pig killing knife? Wait a minute. Should NT the system give me the reward I should receive in 4 years in advance? Shen Jie always felt that this diary was a bit strange. 4 years later, Shen Jie awakened the system by killing Silent, which he did 4 years ago. 4 years later, he received the reward, Pig Butcher, which was also the case 4 years ago. Shen Jie couldn't understand, so he simply stopped thinking about it. He closed the diary and opened his daily routine. Today's routine is the same exercise task as yesterday. Alas! I have to run to the company again. Thinking of the fatal exercise, the next day, Shen Jie had no choice but to wash up and go to bed early, and got up very early the next day. However, with the experience of exercising this time, Shen Jie deliberately extended the time of the first 3 exercises so that he would not be exhausted when he arrived at the company. The good news is that running 10 kilometers will be much easier this way. The bad news is that we are still an hour late. Under the apocalypse, weird things are rampant, and a strong body is what you rely on to survive. If you successfully complete today's exercise, you will receive Strength plus 1%, Agility plus 1%, Constitution plus 3%, and Reward System points x 50. You still have diarrhea today? Lao Zhao asked with concern as soon as Shen Jie sat down. I am constipated today. As soon as Shen Jie turned on the computer, Cheng Shengdin's figure appeared at the door of the general manager's office and said to him, Shen Jie, come to my office. Mr. Chen's plan still needs to be revised. After Cheng Shengdin entered, Lao Zhao looked at Shen Jie with strange eyes. What's wrong? Shen Jie asked. You used to have a lot of orders, but Mr. Cheng asked you to go to the office every day. Is this really a change of plan? Nothing else? I will convey your questions to Mr. Cheng. Brother, I was wrong, old Zhao said. As long as I apologized quickly enough, the slap on my tongue would never catch up with me. Shen Jie walked into the general manager's office with the plan, but saw Cheng Shengdin getting up and closing the curtains in the office. Then, instead of returning to the desk, he sat next to Shen Jie. Shen Jie. Having been at odds with your colleagues for 3 years, are you finally going to take action against yourself? When I drove out of the parking lot yesterday, I saw you getting into a Hongqi special car with the license plate. Cheng Shengdin said with a solemn expression. Yes, is there any problem? Shen Jie asked. Cheng Shengdin looked towards the office area to make sure that no one was eavesdropping in front of the door or window. He leaned forward and said in a low voice. There was a car accident on Chenghong Road yesterday evening. I saw that on the news. The license plate of the car is exactly the one you were riding in, and I saw you communicating with the woman who came to the company yesterday. Is this related to those dirty things again? Well, this matter. We have to start with a 15 yuan taxi ticket. Shen Jie briefly recounted yesterday's situation in a few sentences. As a comrade in arms, and a person involved in the strange incident the day before yesterday, Shen Jie felt it was necessary to let the other party know that the world had quietly changed. It is always good to be cautious in life. Hearing this, Cheng Shengnan asked solemnly, "Do you think the feng shui in this area is bad? Why are there two strange incidents in 2 days? If so, I will contact the above to quickly implement the issue of moving the office. Look at the move, which one is better?" Shen Jie wanted to say that the earth was not safe, but suddenly thought of a place. "What do you think of the business building behind Tianchuan Theater?" Cheng Shengnan frowned. "Tianchuan Theater? City center? The rent of office buildings there is not low. I guess the head office will not agree. Anyway, it's safest to find an office building near Tianchuan Theater." "Why? That woman yesterday was the head of the Wrong City Special Policy Department, and the headquarters of the Wrong City Special Policy Department is near the Tianchuan Theater." Cheng Shengnan thought seriously for a while, then nodded. "Okay, I will ask my assistant to find a suitable office building nearby." Shen Jie didn't expect that Cheng Shengnan was looking for him for such a trivial matter, so he was a little disappointed when he walked out of the office. "Oh, I thought it was approved for paid annual leave." Shen Jie returned to his workstation and worked, seriously, for a day. In the afternoon, Mr. Chen came to the company again and told Shen Jie that he had another small idea. Shen Jie has been busy with strange things these 2 days, and has not even opened the folder. In desperation, he can only print out a copy of the first version of the plan and give it to Mr. Chen. After looking at it, Mr. Chen excitedly patted Shen Jie on the shoulder, almost hurting him internally. "You know me, Xiao Shen. I am very satisfied with this plan, so I will act on it." In this way, Shen Jie somehow got a good review on the first version of the plan. He stayed up until get off work and planned to go to the wet market near the company to buy some fruits and vegetables. After eating instant noodles for 2 days, he needed vegetables to adjust. After all, there is now a system that allows you to observe your own attributes and health. In addition to exercise, you also need to have a balanced diet. Warn. The host is entering an area with a large number of weirdos, and several high-level weirdos have already captured the host's location through their keen sense of smell. Host, please cherish your life and escape quickly. Shen Jie stood at the door of the vegetable market and looked inside. Sure enough, he found several local dogs lying in front of the vegetable stalls, 2 teddy dogs being held by a middle-aged woman with heavy makeup, and several dogs lying on the vegetable sheds. Napping cat. Shen Jie couldn't help but think of the dogs he met outside Tom's Mall. At that time, the system also warned that there were a lot of low-level weird things. Could it be that after a strange outbreak, cats and dogs were the first to be affected? Shen Jie did not stop because of the system's warning, but walked directly into the vegetable market. After all, the system's warning also meant rewards. Warn. 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 The host has been locked by a large number of weirdos. Please don't break into the weird lair because you have single-handedly killed a level 2 weirdo. The current assessment of the host's strength is definitely not more than 2 first-level weird opponents. Please leave quickly. Oh, Shen Jie raised his eyebrows when he heard this. If I remember correctly, before encountering a first-level strange system, it would prompt danger, but now it is said that it is not a strange opponent? Tisk, what a asterisk system, the rating won't go up even if it's like this. Shen Jie complained in his mind, walked around the vegetable market 3 times, bought some vegetables and fruits, and played with all the animals he could see, even the fish in the fish tank. It means that the current vegetable market does not allow live chickens and ducks to be slaughtered on site. Otherwise Shen Jie will definitely have to squat in front of the cage and communicate with Brother Kun. The host is brave and invincible, facing 3 first-level weirdos alone, fighting wits and bravery, successfully repelling the weirdos. Reward system points x10 by 3. 3 ham sausages are exchanged for 30 system points, which is not a loss. The host has both wisdom and bravery, uses language to contain the second-level weirdness, plays tricks on his loyal subordinates, and successfully defeats the weirdness. Reward system points x20/3. Shen Jie carefully told the middle-aged ant holding Teddy the secret of skincare. The host is so swollen that he bravely breaks into the strange lair single-handedly. Faced with many strange people staring at him, he remains calm in the face of danger, as if he is in a place where there is no mystery. Reward system points x50/3. Walked around the wet market 3 times. Just like that, Shen Jie successfully recorded 240 system points during a visit to the vegetable market. Just as he was about to leave the market with satisfaction, he suddenly saw a black mouse that was fatter than an average adult cat and ran into the fish shop. Isn't it? Is it such a coincidence? Shen Jie was speechless. If I didn't write a book, it would be called a weird event every day. Chapter 26. Do you Southerners call this a rat? Whether it was such a coincidence or not, the appearance of this tricky mouse meant a system points reward, and Shen Jie would naturally not let it go. What's more, this weird mouse currently shows no signs of strange space, which means it should not be at level 2 yet. But a skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Even if it is only level 1 weirdness, it cannot be taken lightly. Shen Jie took out the ham sausage he had just bought for walking the dog and entertaining the cat, and took apart 2 more pieces, breaking them into small pieces. He walked to the corner and scattered them on the roof of the shed while the people around him were not paying attention. Shen Jie had already taken a lot of ham sausages to feed cats and dogs when he was collecting points at the wet market, so he was considered familiar here. He wrote down the locations of cats and dogs because he wanted to gain points for fighting wits and weirdness in the system, but he didn't want it to become his trump card now. It's time to eat meat. Shen Jie made a funny sound to wake up the wildcat that was napping on the shed, and then walked into the fish shop while the wildcat was eating ham. The fish shop owner was standing in front of the pork stall next door and chatting with the butcher shop owner about the market gossip. When he saw Shen Jie approaching, he turned around and asked enthusiastically, "Handsome guy, do you want to buy fish? Give me a song and let me debate whether to eat fish today." Shen Jie replied, looking towards the fish shop. Fish shop owner. What's wrong with this man? Difficulty in choosing? Even if you want to buy fish, you have to consider the time of a song? The fish shop owner finished killing the fish and threw all the internal organs into a bucket in the corner. At this time, the tricky mouse was lying next to the jar and feasting on it. As if aware of Shen Jie's approach, the tricky rat turned back sharply, showing its sharp teeth, and opened its mouth and roared at Shen Jie. The sneaky rat's eyes were red, and there was even red blood leaching out. The gray fur on his body was stained with blood and stuck together. It was dirty and looked very disgusting. How about eating mullet? Today's mullet is good. I'll slice it into mullet flowers for you. You can buy 2 bags of sauerkraut seasoning and cook it back. The fish shop owner walked towards Shen Jie enthusiastically. As soon as I walked to the door of the fish shop, I saw a big dark pile of things lying in the corner next to the trash can. I immediately grabbed the fishing net on the side and said, "Holy crap! How dare you come into my shop to look through things to eat? Court death?" After saying that, the fish shop owner rushed forward aggressively and stepped loudly on purpose, as if he wanted to scare away the mouse. The tricky mouse didn't know whether he was frightened by the fish shop owner's aura, or he didn't want to get entangled with this stupid guy. So he turned around and got out from behind the fish shop's water tank. There are a lot of rats in the wet market, and my fish are freshly killed, so it's not surprising to attract rats, but it's clean and hygienic, brother. The owner of the fish shop wanted to explain, but he saw Shen Jie coming from the side that was being renovated. He grabbed a fire brick beside the shop and chased after the mouse. "Hey, is this handsome guy a cat? Can't you see a mouse?" the fish shop owner complained. Behind the fish shop is an alley. There were originally some stalls, but they were abandoned because the location was too far and business was not very good. Crossing the alley, it is the street outside the vegetable market. People are coming and going. Some vendors who cannot afford to rent stalls set up stalls on this street. Shen Jie thought the mouse would run out, but he stopped when he was approaching the entrance of the alley. He suddenly turned around and growled at Shen Jie with his teeth bared. Hey, don't think that being big means something great. No matter how big you are still a mouse. I have a cat mask. After Shen Jie finished speaking, he took out 2 ham sausages, peeled them off, and threw them towards the shed next to him. Cat master, help. Sure enough, when Shen Jie threw the ham sausage on the roof, the wildcat that was eating the pieces of ham sausage on the roof was immediately attracted. Perhaps due to bloodline suppression, this strange mouse was obviously much larger than the 2 wildcats, but when the wildcats appeared, it still instinctively retreated. Meow! 2 wildcats were biting ham sausage. When they looked up, they saw a huge mouse. Their eyes suddenly lit up. They arched their bodies and assumed an attack posture. However, Shen Jie did not plan to directly cooperate with the wildcats to take down the tricky mice. Instead, he wanted to take the opportunity to test the ability of the special characteristics and his previous guess about the special space. Just when the 2 wildcats were about to pounce, Shen Jie saw the right opportunity. At the moment when the tricky mouse was on guard and immobile, he used the feature, immobility. The shadow under his feet suddenly seemed to come alive, shaking and stretching rapidly, and interacted with the strange mouse. The mouse's shadow blended into one, successfully fixing it. The 2 wild cats that were about to attack suddenly seemed to have lost their target. They let out a meow and tilted their heads to look at the location of the tricky mouse. Neither wildcat seems to be able to see the treacherous mouse bound by immobility. Sure enough, when using the feature, immovable, to trap the target will be pulled into the strange space, thus becoming invisible. As soon as Shen Jie cancelled move, the 2 wild cats immediately assumed an attacking posture again, crawling and slowly approaching the tricky mouse. The tricky mouse immediately turned around and wanted to run away, but Shen Jie would not let it do so. Look at the bricks. The fire brick flew out with a whoosh sound and hit the sneaky mouse's escape route. It was so startled that the sneaky mouse froze. In just a second or two, 2 wild cats jumped out from the roof, one behind the other. Block the sneaky mouse. Meow. The next second, 2 cats and a mouse got into a fight. Although there is blood suppression, the tricky mouse is obviously stronger than the wildcat in combat. Shen Jie immediately stepped forward to help, raising his foot and kicking it, and each foot accurately stepped on the mouse's head. This footwork is called Foshan Wying, stepping on the toes. Every step is accurate. 1 man and 2 cats besieged a mouse, and the scene was extremely chaotic. But Shen Jie soon discovered that something was wrong. The wound on the body of the tricky mouse that was bitten by the wildcat was actually healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The head that was about to be crushed by his crushing was also slowly recovering. The strange mouse seems to be still mutating. In just a short time, its size has grown again. Suddenly, the tricky rat's head, which was originally as big as a fist, opened its mouth so big that it could swallow a wild cat. This scene frightened the 2 wildcats, and they jumped up to the roof with a whoosh sound. Hey, you guys are betraying your teammates. Before Shen Jie could finish his words, he saw the sneaky mouse closed his mouth and ran out towards the alley. Shen Jie chased out of the alley while carrying the fire brick, and took out his mobile phone to make a call. Qinghong Road Vegetable Market, Hawker Street exit, rat, bigger than an adult cat. Ability to heal quickly, can open its mouth wide enough to swallow 1 cat level, come quickly. Deng Yuki. Brother, you really don't need to help us improve our performance. The entrance to the alley. A couple were shopping in a busy Hawker Street, and they were inseparable. Suddenly a black shadow jumped out of the alley, and the 2 of them screamed in fright. But when they saw that the thing that was bigger than a cat turned out to be a mouse, everyone was shocked, especially the man. He was from the north. The mice in the north are not as big as a fist. Seeing a mouse of this size, they were immediately shocked. He was dumbfounded. What is that? Bamboo rat? Piglet? His girlfriend rolled her eyes at him disdainfully, and said disdainfully, "It's so strange, it's not a pig, it's a rat, it's a mouse." The man exclaimed, "You Southerners call this a mouse? Good guy. Even if you were a mouse, Tom has to call him dad when he comes." The man suddenly felt that the rats in his hometown were more pleasing to the eye. Chapter 27. Everything is under control at this moment. Another figure jumped out. and Shen Jie held up the fire brick and chased after the tricky mouse. There are many people at the hawker stalls, and the tricky rats are scurrying among the crowd, making it difficult to aim. If this brick falls and knocks down one person, it will be a big deal. Shen Jie didn't dare to make bricks at will, so he could only follow the tricky mouse all the way. When the man saw this, he asked again, "What is that, a rat catcher?" "Who knows, why are you minding your own business?" The woman's eyes were once again attracted by the snacks on the surrounding stalls, and she forgot about the unusual big rat. Obviously, this rat is a bit bigger and is not uncommon in the south. While the sneaky mouse was running around and getting into a group of people watching the excitement, Shen Jie could hear a special rap from Sichuan and Sichuan being played on a loop in the crowd. "Who is medicine? Shower's medicine, shower can't escape after taking it." He stepped on his left foot and his right foot, and his tail hit his head. After rushing to the venue and shopping in the store, I remembered to bring a meal to shower. 1 yuan a pack. 1 yuan a bag of money will prevent you from falling in love. Wherever you put it, you can pick it up wherever you want it, and you won't be able to run away more than a foot at most. Scatter it in the house and keep it safe, and you will have to lie down all night long. In the crowd, a bald middle-aged man sat on a small bench. There were 2 large sacks next to him, one of which was still moving. There was an iron cage at the middle-aged man's feet, containing several palm-sized mice that were jumping up and down. I saw the man taking out a pack of pills from a sack and pouring them into the food plate in the iron cage. Several scurrying rats smelled the smell and ran over to eat. While the mouse was eating the pink pills on the food plate, the middle-aged man shouted rhythmically into the headset next to his mouth, "Dear neighbors, please come and listen. Is there a lot of noise in your house? You can see the nests. As long as you buy my mouse medicine, the mice will not be able to escape after eating it. I will not take it easy and I will not lie. The mice can be seen everywhere. It does a lot of harm. It eats your food and crawls around you. Nest." Not only is it rhythmic, it's also catchy. Soon, as the middle-aged man yelled, "My," passionately, the mouse in the cage that had swallowed pills suddenly fell down and became motionless. Just when the onlookers were surprised, a big rat jumped out of the crowd, got directly into the middle-aged man's medicine bag, and ate the fragrant rat poison one bite at a time. "Hey, master, where did you find such a big rat? You really want to poison it to death?" "I'll buy 10 bags, said a passerby. "I'll buy a few bags too. Mom, this mouse is a bit big." The middle-aged man's special rat poison was mixed with an aroma that had a miraculous effect on rats, so as soon as he poured the pills into the cage, the rats couldn't wait to gather around and eat them. But in fact, the rats in the cage are all trustees. He has already given poison to the rats. Eating these pills will accelerate the effect of the poison and kill the rats. In fact, the special rat poison was not effective in killing rats quickly. When he saw a big guy getting into the medicine bag and feasting on it, he didn't want his job to be smashed, so he grabbed the big tail of the strange rat and tried to kill it, pull it out of the medicine bag. When the strange mouse was dragged out of the sack by the middle-aged man, it suddenly opened its big mouth that could swallow his head. The middle-aged man was so frightened that when he let go, the strange mouse fell to the ground. The terrifying and mouth immediately frightened him. The onlookers screamed and fled. A little boy was knocked down by someone who was running away in panic. The sly mouse opened its mouth wide and bit the little boy's head directly. "Let's go." At this time, Shen Jie jumped out from the crowd, kicked the little boy away, and then dunked hard with a fire brick, hitting the tricky mouse from top to bottom on the head, sending it flying away. Although the action is not very gentle, it does succeed in saving people from the mouth of a rat. "Boss, let me borrow your iron cage." Shen Jie grabbed the cage containing the dead mouse and chased after the strange mouse, emptying the dead mouse out of the cage as he ran. The middle-aged man had been frightened and his feet were weak. He didn't care about the iron cage. At this time, he only had one thought in his mind. Could it be that too many rats had been killed and the Rat King came to seek revenge? Afraid. No more selling rat poison. Just like that, a generation of street rap drug dealers changed careers. On the other side, Shen Jie held an iron cage in his left hand and a fire brick in his right hand, chasing the fox all the way. This magical operation stunned passers-by. Seeing that the foxy mouse was about to jump into a battery car repair shop, Shen Jie had quick eyes and quick hands, and the brick flew away, hitting the foxy mouse's body accurately. Before he had time to pick up the fire bricks, Shen Jie held the cage with both hands and clasped it at the tricky rat. Before the tricky rat had time to open its mouth, it was locked from the head down by the iron cage. The fat, tricky rats filled the iron cage to the brim. Shen Jie kicked the iron cage down with one kick, closed the cage door, clicked the lock, rushed to the repair shop owner who was stunned by the strange mouse, grabbed the welding gun from his hand, ran back to the cage, and kicked step on the cage, turned on the welding gun and pointed at the tricky rat's head to burn it. The trick rat let out a sharp howl, but its body was restrained by the iron cage and could not avoid the attack of the welding gun, and most of its head was burned off in the blink of an eye. But Shen Jie did not stop there. He did not stop until the whole head of the tricky mouse was burned beyond recognition and the system prompts sounded in his mind. The host single-handedly kills level 1 weirdos, is brave and invincible, and is rewarded with 50 system points. Shen Jie took the large cardboard box that was used to put garbage on the side, closed the iron cage containing the corpse of the strange mouse inside, and picked up the cardboard box to stay away from the crowd. Because when the tricky rat exposed its asterisk mouth at the rat poison stall, which could swallow an adult's head, many people immediately took out their mobile phones to take pictures. Although Shen Jie had already reported to the Special Policy Department, he didn't want to be the headline of tomorrow's news, so he walked through the hawker street with a cardboard box and went to the green park across the street. Finding a deserted place, Shen Jie opened the cardboard box. When he looked at the corpse of the tricky mouse, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Whether to sell the level 1 weird corpse, price, 200 system points. Killing level 2 weirdos will reward you with 100 system points and a random F-level recovery product. The level 2 weird corpse sells for 500 system points. But for killing a level 1 weird, the reward is only 50, there are no recovery items, and the weird corpse can only be sold for 200 system points. 200 system points, 2 lucky draw opportunities. Shen Jie now has a total of 421 system points, including the system points earned at the wet market and the points from killing the tricky mouse. After thinking for a while, Shen Jie gave up selling the corpse of the tricky mouse to the system, closed the lid, took out his mobile phone and dialed Deng Yuqi's number. "Officer Deng, haven't you arrived yet? I'm afraid the daylilies will be cold if you wait for you to solve the mystery," Shen Jie teased. There was silence on the other side of the phone for a long time, and he replied with 2 words helplessly, "Traffic jam." Shen Jie could already imagine that the traffic control department in Rong City would receive complaints from his family members in the near future. "How is the situation over there? Has the strangeness caused any casualties? Have the surrounding people been evacuated?" Deng Yuqi asked. Shen Jie said, "Don't worry, everything is under control." Deng Yuqi was just about to complain when she heard Shen Jie say, "Weird has been caught. I don't know whether he is dead or not. However, many people in the hawker street took videos. You'd better deal with it." "Understand, Deng Yuqi was stunned for a moment. Why did Cheng Shenj give orders? Chapter 28. Let me consider it. Deng Yuqi was relieved when he heard that Shen Jie had successfully solved the mystery, and began to complain about Shen Jie's physique. Is there really one weird incident every day? This kind of bad luck is too outrageous, right? A few minutes later, Deng Yuqi led the team to the hawker street and arranged for agents from the Special Strategy Department to deal with the aftermath to prevent other weird things. At the same time, she and several technicians who were wearing protective suits and were fully armed as if they were going to a radiation zone, came to the green park across the street, and found Shen Jie in the corner who was browsing short videos on his mobile phone. "Hey, here we come. Have you eaten?" Shen Jie looked up at Deng Yuqi and several technicians who were standing in front of him, and greeted him enthusiastically. These words immediately reminded Deng Yuqi of the fragrant and hot dinner on his desk, but before he could even take a bite, he was called over by a phone call. Deng Yuqi looked at the large cardboard box at Shen Jie's feet. "Is there something weird in this?" "Yes." As Shen Jie spoke, he bent down and reached out to open the big cardboard box. Upon seeing this, Deng Yuki immediately shouted nervously. "Wait, let us do it." Well, Shen Jie really wanted to say that he was dead after being identified by the system, so there was no need to be so nervous. But at this time, the 4 technicians had already taken action. They first scanned the large carton with instruments, and then took out various instruments for testing. Deng Yuki signaled Shen Jie to get out of her seat quickly and come to her side. "Mr. Shen, although you have the ability to deal with a strange mouse on your own, you should be more careful. You yourself said that the strange mouse's ability is to heal quickly, so after locking it up, you should stay away immediately instead of sitting there." He swipes his phone next to him. "The strange vitality is very tenacious. Many times you think it is dead, but it may mutate and counterattack at any time. Many of our soldiers have died due to the strange mutation before death," Deng Yuki said seriously. "Next time, definitely," Shen Jie said. "Deng Yuki, is there a next time? You really think you have a weird and attractive physique, right?" At this moment, after the 4 technicians completed the inspection, one of them, under the protection of 3 companions, held a special pliers for bomb disposal and slowly opened the large cardboard box. 3 companions hold instruments, as if facing a powerful enemy. When the big box was fully opened and they saw the strange rat in the iron cage, the 3 men quickly stepped forward with instruments and penetrated the strange rat's body, injecting into its body an anesthetic that could anesthetize an elephant. Shen Jie whipped the corpse. As the anesthetic was injected, there was a beeping sound from the insecticide mechanical backpack carried by the technician standing at the front. Then, the technician looked back at Deng Yuki, with uncontrollable surprise on his face. "Minister, the presence of strange energy has been detected. It is a complete strange. After scanning, there are no signs of life yet. But the cell activity is very high. The wound actually shows signs of recovery. Seal it up immediately and take it back," Deng Yuki said. The technician nodded, took out a folded silver cloth of special material from the mechanical backpack, spread it out, lifted out the iron cage and placed it on the cloth, wrapped it and stuffed it into the mechanical backpack, and then locked the mechanical backpack. Upon seeing this, Shen Jie looked at Deng Yuki and asked with a strange expression, "Officer Deng, are you afraid that the mice will get cold on the road, so you sealed them in a thermal bag?" The technician in charge of packing said disdainfully, "Insulation bag? Bitch. This is a special material that seals in evil energy. It is worth." "Li Shang," Deng Yuki frowned and interrupted the technician. The man immediately realized that he had spilled the beans and shut up quickly. "Mr. Shen, as usual, please come with us to the Special Policy Department and make a record of today's strange events. Thank you for your hard work." Deng Yuki looked at Shen Jie and said. Shen Jie asked, "Not only did I catch a weird for you this time, but I also preserved Weird's body, completely. Can this credit be exchanged for a pair of weird gloves?" Shen Jie deliberately emphasized the word, complete. Obviously, he captured the key information from the words of the technicians. Before Shen Jie appeared, even the most senior Deng Yuki had only experienced a few weird incidents in the few years he had been working. This shows that they did not have many weird corpses that they could use. When the researcher discovered that the corpse of the trick rat was well preserved and contained a large amount of trick energy, the surprised expression on his face betrayed him in an instant. "I am sorry, Mr. Shen. The magic gloves are special equipment of the Special Strategy Department and cannot be given away or rewarded. However, I will apply for a high bonus from you," Deng Yuki said. Shen Jie raised his eyebrows. "How tall?" Deng Yuki originally wanted to answer, 500,000, but when she thought of the information report she received from Shen Jie from the Ministry of Information this morning, the number in the column of total assets. 500,000. Oh. Shen Jie was in a dull mood. Deng Yuki sighed helplessly in his heart. He had obviously known this outcome for a long time. Although Shen Jie didn't explicitly say, "I'm not interested in money," it was obvious that he valued the former more than money. In this way, Shen Jie came to the Special Policy Department where even officials cannot come and go at will, twice in 2 days, and was taken to that familiar room. After finishing the note, Deng Yuki looked at Shen Jie with a strange expression and asked in a helpless tone, "Mr. Shen, Did you really go to the vegetable market just because you wanted to eat fruit? Shen Jie met Deng Yuqi's eyes and said with a serious expression, "To be honest with Officer Deng, I am a super soldier of the M78 Nebula. I have awakened the mystery elimination system in my body and can accurately capture the location of the mystery. So as long as you recruit me and I can make your branch the national consumer champion." Deng Yuqi. Thank you. No need to. This is Deng Yuqi's character, and now everyone wants to complain about God's failure. After reciting silently 10 times to calm down, Deng Yuqi said seriously, "Mr. Shen, although you are not very lucky and get into trouble when you go out, your strength is worthy of recognition. To tell you the truth, I received a communication from the Ministry of Information this morning. The file you came with shows that you have passed the political review. Apart from your out-of-the-box thinking and that mouth smeared with bee venom, you are indeed a rare talent and fully qualified to join the Special Policy Department. You have found out all my ancestors in just one day? You are worthy of being a member of the Celestial Dragon Group." Shen Jie nodded, as if confirming the strength of the Special Strategy Department. Deng Yuqi directly filtered out Shen Jie's trash talk and said seriously, "The strange appearance means that countries will no longer just maintain superficial peace, but will truly unite to deal with the common enemy on the basis of human life and death. And our Special Policy Department is the warriors on the front line. We use our blood and flesh to build a high wall for the people behind us. Mr. Shen, are you willing to join the Special Policy Department and do your part for the country and the people on the front line?" Deng Yuqi formally extended an invitation to Shen Jie. "I'll think about it," Shen Jie replied. Deng Yuqi. Chapter 29. The host is so brave that he dares to break into the strange headquarters. Think about your sister. Deng Yuqi really wanted to beat someone up. Yesterday this guy showed great interest in joining the Special Policy Department, and his words contained the meaning of, "When can I join?" As a result, I worked overtime to complete the report, and today I kept an eye on the headquarters for review throughout the process, and even personally sent out the invitation, as a result. Consider, Deng Yuqi was about to get angry when she saw Shen Jie let out a long sigh and said melancholy, "I knew it would be useless even if I hide incognito. A man like me is like a firefly in the dark, so bright, so outstanding. Deng Yuqi interrupted Shen Jie expressionlessly. "Okay, Pork Prince, I suddenly feel that I need to conduct a mental evaluation on you before recommending you to join the company." "Huh? Have you also watched Ling Ling Chi? Actually, I want to say, after I join the Special Strategy Department, can I choose a replacement number?" Shen Jie said. Deng Yuqi said with a wooden face. "We are a spy department and we don't need a personal codename." "That's a pity, I need to think about it more," Shen Jie said with a serious expression. Deng Yuqi was too lazy to pay attention to him anymore. She picked up the notebook and prepared to leave. "Then you think about it slowly and we will contact you later. Come on, I will take you out." Shen Jie stood up and followed Deng Yuqi to the door. "Okay, I thought about it. Where can I go to complete the entry procedures now?" Deng Yuqi resisted the urge to hit and said, "Don't worry, the data review and storage will take time. After the final review is passed, the results will be available in the next 2 days. Besides, I believe Mr. Shen, you also need some time to process now. Job, right?" "That's true. After all, I'm so popular. Whether the company will let me go is another question," Shen Jie said seriously. Deng Yuqi was about to complain when she saw Li Shang from the technical department trotting over. When he saw Shen Jie, he said, "You are still there. Are you sure you used the welding gun from the repair shop to burn Weird to death?" "Right. It's strange. We used a welding gun to test the strength of the rat's muscles, and found that it was impossible to directly burn through its muscle tissue with just a welding gun," Li Shang pondered. Shen Jie asked, "Could it be because I hit it the head many times, making it more susceptible to the impact of the welding gun?" "Huh? You also used a weapon to inflict severe damage to the rat's head? What weapon did you use? An iron hammer? A hammer? Or something else?" Li Shang asked. Shen Jie reached into his backpack and took out a fire brick. "Use this." Li Shang. Deng Yuqi. "Mr. Shen, do you have the habit of carrying bricks with you?" Deng Yuqi had a strange expression and felt that it was necessary to conduct a mental evaluation for Shen Jie. Shen Jie said. When I found a trick rat in the market, I picked it up from next to a shop that was being renovated. I thought it was quite easy to use, so I took it with me. Awesome. Deng Yuqi and Li Zhang's eyes suddenly became subtle when they looked at Shen Jie. Mr. Shen, can you bring this brick to us for inspection? Li Shang found out after testing the rat that the strength of the rat was not low. Shen Jie was able to subdue it single-handedly, so he was really powerful. Therefore, his attitude towards him has improved a lot. Can. Shen Jie handed the brick to Li Shang, and then said, by the way, I also discovered that there are many strange things about the squirrel. For example, when the wound heals, the muscle tissue is like a living insect, slowly exploring forward. After touching the opponent, it devours it. The hair and bones don't seem to be like ordinary mice. Li Shang was surprised when he heard this and said, Mr. Shen still has research in this area? I know a little bit about anatomy. Shen Jie nodded confidently. Deng Yuqi asked doubtfully. Mr. Shen, according to your report, the design you studied does not seem to have any medical-related learning experience. Oh, I learned anatomy from Jigsaw, Shen Jie said. Li Shang. Mr. Shen, if you are free tomorrow, please come to the Special Policy Department before 5 o'clock. I think it is necessary to give you a mental evaluation as a basis for joining the job. Deng Yuqi said seriously. Li Shangze said, Minister, does it mean that Mr. Shen's appointment has basically been determined? Probably. Right. Is there any problem? Deng Yuqi wanted to say that if there was any problem, it would be best to tell him immediately. It would be best to completely give up my idea of recommending him to join. Oh, I want to say that as a person who directly fought against the squirrel, I would like to ask Mr. Shen to conduct an autopsy with this to restore the battle situation at that time. Because we also detected in the sly energy of the squirrel that did not belong to the sly rat's strange ability, Li Shang said. These words made Shen Jie's eyes freeze. Although he still looked normal, Li Zhang's words actually caused waves in his heart. A trick that does not belong to the trick rat? Could it be that the trick energy was left behind when the immobility was tested on the trick rat? What exactly is this weird energy? Deng Yuqi seems to be considering Li Zhang's suggestion. The strange corpses sent to the Special Policy Department usually undergo multiple tests to ensure they are absolutely safe before being sent to the Technical Department. Because the staff of the Technical Department are all rare talents of the Special Policy Department, the loss of one is an incalculable loss to the Special Policy Department. Although Li Shang had just joined the Technology Department, he was currently responsible for work such as anatomy. The laboratory was not in the Technology Research and Development Department. Even if Shen Jie went there, he would not have access to any secrets. Mr. Shen, what do you think? Shen Jie was not yet a member of the Special Policy Department at this time. Out of politeness and to leave a good impression in the future, Deng Yuqi asked him for his opinion. I have no problem, but this happened to me after get off work. I haven't had time to eat. Are you in charge of dinner? Shen Jie asked seriously. When he said, but, he suddenly took a deep breath and his expression became solemn and serious, which made Deng Yuqi and Li Shang become nervous. They thought he was going to say some unknown information about the squirrel, but just ask whether you care about the food. When talking about rice, Deng Yuqi clenched her fists. She didn't even take a bite of her luxurious takeaway food, it was already cold. No matter. Deng Yuqi almost gritted his teeth and replied. Shen Jie's face suddenly filled with a smile. That's good, that's good. Deng Yuqi was extremely speechless and took Shen Jie to the cafeteria, and asked the cafeteria chef to turn on the small stove and make a box lunch for him. He thought that Shen Jie would eat in the cafeteria before leaving, but unexpectedly, this guy said that it was not good to let the technicians wait, and forced him to Deng Yuqi and he carried the boxed lunch to watch the strange anatomy. Under the leadership of Deng Yuqi, Shen Jie walked into the technical department building, which was much more tightly guarded than the main building. As soon as he entered the door, a rapid prompt from the system appeared in his mind. Warn, warn, warn. The host is so bold that he dares to break into the strange headquarters alone. There are a large number of high-level mysterious spaces here, and the collision of different mysterious spaces has caused space distortion. If you enter with the host's current strength, your fate will be reversed in a blink of an eye. You will be helpless, unable to escape, and in danger of death. Please cherish your life and stay away from high-level pollution areas immediately. Warn, warn, warn. Shen Je's eyes once again displayed a long-lost red letter warning, but unlike Tom's Mall, which was clearly haunted by level 7 spooks before, here it only reminded that there were a large number of high-level spooks, so the red letters in both eyes only appeared once and then never appeared again. Deng Yuki saw Shen Je suddenly stop and asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Chapter 30. Brother, the taste is a bit strong. Oops. Shen Je's expression was solemn. Deng Yuki. I forgot to bring the kimchi. There is no kimchi in the lunchbox, and the rice is no longer fragrant. Alas. Shen Je sighed melancholy. Deng Yuki was too lazy to pay any attention to Shen Je and walked straight towards the anatomy room with the lunchbox in hand. Shen Je looked towards the depths of the corridor illuminated by fluorescent lamps, frowning. Tom's Mall, where level 7 spooks are haunted, is a special level pollution area, and this is a high-level pollution area, which means there are at least level 5 and 6 spooky haunts. 5th and 6th levels of weirdness 4 years later, then it should be at least 1 and 2 levels now. Is it the weirdness that the Special Strategy Department raised in captivity to make weird energy equipment, or is it the weirdness that has been sealed away by the weird incidents that have been resolved over the years? However, what concerned Shen Je the most was the words, weird headquarters. There is a 4-year time lag in the system, which means that the Special Policy Department 4 years later has been reduced to a weird headquarters, and the word, headquarters, obviously has a big problem. The system prompts that areas with a large number of weird things are weird lairs. Even Tom's Mall prompts 7th level weird lair. This headquarters, does it mean that there is something strange and intelligent that occupies the Special Policy Department? Since Shen Je awakened to the system, except for an old man with the characteristic 3 heads and 6 arms, all the weird things he encountered were basically animals. If this person becomes weird and still retains consciousness, that would be really explosive information. While thinking, Shen Je followed Deng Yuki into the anatomy room on the first floor of the technical department, carrying a box of lunch. There were 9 people in the autopsy room, including 3 technicians headed by Li Shang, 2 assistants, and 4 fully armed soldiers responsible for the safety of Li Shang and others. Minister. Minister. Seeing Deng Yuki and Shen Je come in, 2 assistants came forward, and one of them said, Minister, Mr. Shen, please follow me. Since the purpose of the dissection is weird, you need to put on protective clothing when entering the dissecting room on the inside to prevent being affected by weird things. Although human scientists have been studying the weirdness since it appeared, they still don't know how the weirdness was born after all these years. Is this a virus on Earth, an alien virus, or an existence that cannot be explained by science, such as ghosts? Hence, no one knows whether this protective suit is useful or not, but for safety reasons, the authorities still require that weird be treated as a virus and complete protection must be taken before contact with it. After entering the dressing room with his assistant, Deng Yuki walked to the small table next to him and sat down. He opened his lunchbox and said, "You guys take him in first. I'll go there by myself after I finish eating." Deng Yuki ate something at 11 o'clock and was busy until almost 7 o'clock before getting ready for dinner. Shen Je called her out and called her out. Now she was really hungry. "Yes, Minister." The assistant took out a set of protective clothing from the side, while Shen Je curiously looked at a square, white, big box, with wheels in the corner. "What is that?" Shen Je asked. The assistant said, "That's Section Chief Chen's protective chair. Section Chief Chen injured his foot in a battle with enemies and had difficulty moving, so the people from the technical department specially made this chair so that you can sit in it directly. Although Section Chief Chen it was moved away, but this chair has always stayed here. Well, since Section Chief Chen is no longer using it, can I borrow it? I think it's quite spacious inside. I can sit there and eat and participate in the dissection at the same time," Shen Je asked. Assistant. "Are you sure you want to watch the dissection while eating?" The assistant frowned, and even thinking about that scene made his stomach churn. Although Deng Yuki had known Shen Je for only 2 days, he was already used to it after 2 days of mental torture. Shen Jie waved his hand nonchalantly and got into the box-shaped wheelchair similar to Old Man Le. He opened his lunchbox and started eating. "Mr. Shen, I think you are still." Before the assistant finished speaking, Shen Jie held the lunchbox in one hand, started the old man music with the other, and drove out with ease. Li Shang was stunned when he saw Shen Jie playing old man music. "Mr. Shen, what is this?" "I'm sorry, I haven't had dinner yet, and I chased mice all over the street. I don't want to delay your get off work, so I just made do with this meal," Shen Jie explained. Everyone was speechless for a while. A security soldier next to him couldn't help but complain. "Brother, the taste is a bit strong." However, Shen Jie did not need to do the autopsy. He only needed to take a look at the corpse of the strange mouse and help analyze the differences between the strange corpse at this time and the previous time it was alive. After everyone entered the dissection room at the back, Shen Jie saw that on the table, most of the skin had been cut open, and the stomach had been cut open, revealing the disgusting internal organs inside. Shen Jie drove Lao Tool close to the dissecting bed. While eating, he carefully observed the corpse of the tricky mouse. The wound on the left side of the skull was probably caused by me at that time. In addition to using fire bricks, I also stepped on it with my feet, probably. One or two all right. Could you be the descendant of Foshan Wying stepping on his toes? What did the weird mouse go through before he died? Li Shang stepped forward and picked up the head of the strange mouse with a tool. He held a medical electric saw in his right hand and sawed a part of the skull. The brain of the strange mouse suddenly squirmed out like maggots and glued the cut part of the skull. Come together. After 2 or 3 seconds, Li Zhang's sawed wound disappeared. Li Shang said with a serious face, "Mr. Shen, as you can see, in addition to the wounds caused by you, the wounds caused by the tools we use will be quickly healed by the residual magic energy of the trick rats. And on this wound you caused, the existence of strange energy that does not belong to strange rats has been detected." "Oh," Shen Jie took a few mouthfuls of rice, smacked his lips, and then asked after swallowing, "Did you test the fire brick I brought?" The assistant standing next to Shen Jie had already felt a rush of heat from his stomach to his throat when he saw the squirming brain of the tricky mouse. Then when he saw Shen Jie slurping the mapo tofu in the bowl, he immediately couldn't bear it. Unable to hold on any longer, I ran to the trash can in the corner of the room and vomited wildly. "Is this assistant lady pregnant?" Shen Jie asked curiously. "She is pregnant. You made her vomit." It was not once or twice that someone in the autopsy room was nauseated and vomited. Li Shang didn't take it to heart at all. All he could see at this time was the weird corpse. "After testing, we also found traces of treacherous energy in the fire bricks that do not belong to treacherous rats," Li Shang said. Hearing this, Shen Jie nodded seriously. "So, I picked up a fire brick at the vegetable market, and there were other ghost powers remaining on it. And it accidentally became a ghost weapon against ghost rats?" "It's possible," Li Shang muttered. Shen Jie said, "That's very simple. Hurry up and send people to the shop that is being renovated opposite the fish shop on Qinghong Road and bring back all the fire bricks there for testing. Maybe you can also harvest a batch of treacherous weapons." "That's right, thank you, Mr. Shen, for reminding me." Li Shang had just received the test report of the fire bricks and had not had time to report it to Deng Yuki. At this moment, after being reminded by Shen Jie, he quickly ordered his assistant to send someone to deal with it. But it was obvious that they would only return in vain, because the ghost energy remaining on this fire brick was the remnant of Shen Singer's ability to control the ghost rat by turning on the immobile feature of the fire brick. This information also gave Shen Jie a new way of thinking about dealing with strange events.